What's up, Dragon Brood? We're continuing putting out decks every single day, multiple times a day, until the release of Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. It's kind of something we do around here. But before we get into this, please remember to like, subscribe, share, hit the notification button, and choose all notifications to make sure you don't miss out on one of these decks. Now, the next one we're going to talk about here is Boros equipment. And I'm just going to say up front, there's probably like 50 ways you could build this. There were a lot of different ways. Like, this has actually slowed me down because I spent a bunch of time trying to decide what cards I wanted in the list and which direction I wanted to go. I know there's going to be some people want something different. I know some of y'all are going to want different cards. All I'm saying up front is just save it, because there's already like a billion cards you can choose from, and I'm well aware. There's going to be a bunch of ways. Matter of fact, there may even be another list I put out before we even get to set release that uses the same concept. So let's just go take a look at it, and then y'all can roast me later. Alright, there was a lot to try to figure out here on which way we wanted to go, and I decided we are going to play a couple copies of Eater of Virtue. This is a 1 mana artifact. It has equipment, or it has equip of 1. Target creature gets +2/+0. It is legendary. If the creature equipped with it dies, you exile it, and then future creatures that get equipped have whatever characteristics or keywords, I guess, that one has. The real thing here is mostly all we're going to be able to add to this realistically is haste and double strike. So I almost didn't play it. However, I really just thought that the +2 is so good for 1 mana, it's worth doing anyway, and we get a potential upside, so I don't have a problem with that. We're playing 4 Fireblade Chargers because they're 1 mana 1/1. We needed some things to play early, but this does actually sacrifice and deal real damage, considering we do have stuff like Eater of Virtue that we can equip to the Fireblade Charger, maybe on turn 2 or whatever. So having a 3-power charger is pretty devastating against the opponents, and there's a lot of times we're going to be able to give it additional abilities. We're playing 4 Play with Fire because the card's just good and we needed some amount of removal, so I went with the cheapest removal that was the most versatile, partly because we're going to be spending a lot of mana between equipping and other activated abilities anyway, so you're not going to have that much mana available. I did decide to play 2 Rabbit Batteries. It's possible we were really supposed to be playing at least 3 of these, honestly. I'm not totally sure yet, but it does have haste on its own. It gives something +1/+1, and that creature also gains haste. So it's kind of cool to know that each of your future creatures can have haste, and it's another way to protect a creature by reconfiguring. So that's a possibility. Maybe, if you want to, you could reduce your number of Resolute Strikes. We are playing 3 of these, mostly because the one thing that's neat is I was reading this over, and it's a 1 mana instant. It says target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. If it's a warrior, you may attach an equipment you control to it. And that's very particular, that it says attach an equipment, not equip a thing. And the reason that matters is because things like Rabbit Battery or any of the other equipment creatures are actually equipment. So we can attach equipment. I'm assuming by all the text I could find that this works. So, okay, we'll see what happens. But hey, the fact that you can put some of the others on there that we have as well could make it worthwhile. I don't know. It's interesting to think about, though. But like I was saying, if you want to play more Rabbit Batteries, this is one spot where you could potentially remove a card and play one there. Now we're playing 2 Kargan Intimidator. And this is because a Kargan Intimidator is large on its own. We do have stuff that could give it double strike. It can also make things not block. It can pump itself. So we're only playing a couple copies because of the 1 toughness. That is a little bit of a liability sometimes. But it is also a big front side that can hold off other big creatures. So we're going to go with it and see what happens. But 2 Kargan Intimidators in this list. We're playing a full set of 4 core Blade Master because we have now more ways to give things bonuses and equip stuff. So equip warriors you control have double strike. So that's it. Now there is a question which I couldn't find, so feel free to put it down in the comments. But I was trying to decide if reconfigured stuff counts as equipping things, because if so, then Core Blade Master works with, say, like Rabbit Battery. If it's reconfigured and not equipped, then meh. Because reading reconfigure here on Rabbit Battery, it just says attached to target creature you control or unattached from the creature, reconfigured, play only as a sorcery, yeah, while it's attached, it's not a creature. So it doesn't really say anything. So I need to find an FAQ on this. I think it works the way we want, but something to be aware of otherwise. Now we're playing 3 Lion Sash, and realistically, Lion Sash might only need to be a 2 of in this deck. So maybe this is another spot where you could cut 1, and I may even do that actually. I might just cut down to 2 Lion Sash and up the number of Rabbit Battery. Mostly because Lion Sash technically doesn't do anything until you've already put some cards in the graveyard. Like, if you haven't really removed any permanents, then, Lion Sash is just a 1/1. And when you equip, you don't get any bonuses, because you only get bonuses for the number of counters on Lion Sash. So keep that in mind as well. That might be a good enough read. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to do this after this video. So the final list you see will probably just have 2 Lion Sash and 3 Rabbit Battery, because I think that's more accurate of what we need to be doing here. Now, moving on, we're playing 2 Lizard Blades. And this is one I really debated as well, because I don't know how many double strike effects we need, right? Because now we'll have not Rabbit, but we'll have Core Blade Master, we'll have Lizard Blades, and we have another card, Halvar, in here that can all give double strike. Now, double strike is totally fine, and because we have a lot of ways to pump things, I think it's okay, but don't really know. We're playing 1 Akiri, mostly because 1 Akiri is a warrior. It gives us a way to get extra cards, and Akiri also allows us to protect our creatures. So, gonna go with that, see if it's any good. We're just playing a 1 of, so it doesn't really hurt us one way or the other. We're playing a full set of 4 Kargan Warlords, because in case you didn't notice, all of our non-equipment creatures are warriors. So getting a cheap way to just pump our team seems pretty good. And this is a 3/3 body that now, because we have stuff like Rabbit Battery and other stuff, we can actually get in with extra damage, and that's pretty nice. And we have 3 Maul the Skyclaves, because this card's just really good. 3 mana, give a creature +2/+2, flying and first strike. All around fantastic. Definitely going to go ahead and play it. And then we have Brunner Battlehammer. We're playing 2 of those. They're 2 colorless, 1 red, 1 white for 5/3. Each creature you control gets +2/+0 for each equipment attached to it. So obviously, since we have some cheap equip things, it could be a +4 or +6 on several creatures pretty easily. And then once per turn, we may pay 0 to equip a thing, which is kind of nice. And again, I don't think this qualifies for reconfigure. I think this is just for straight up equip cost. So again, I need to double check that, see if it's a thing. I couldn't find anything as of, I guess, the day before you're seeing this, when I'm before the recording, but who knows? But I looked pretty heavily and couldn't find anything. So I'm assuming it only applies to actual equip costs, which is still a fair number of things, but just something to think about. And then we have Halvar, God of Battle. Halvar is cool and all. It gives every equipped creatures double strike, which we like. But the backside is a 2/2. It's a +2/+2 equipment, which whenever the creature dies, goes back to your hand. That's actually a really good combo with something like Fireblade Charger, because your opponent almost never wants to kill it then, and then they have a trouble dealing with it, because if it dies, it deals damage equal to its power, it goes back to your hand, and you kind of keep that cycle going. So that's a really good little combo to have in the deck. Then lands, we're playing 2 Eiganjo, Seat of the Empire, just as a way to have some extra creature kill stuff. We're playing 1 Fury Calm Snarl, which actually I may end up pulling that at some point and playing just another regular basic, but we'll see. We have enough basics that we can support this. And then we have 4 Needle Verge Pathway, 2 Sokenzen, which I think I finally got it right this time, Crucible of Defiance. Another way to just make some creatures that you can equip up, which is kind of nice. Then we're playing a full set of Sundown Pass. We're playing 5 Mountains and 5 Plains. So it's a pretty quick deck. It's got a lot of cool stuff going on here, but yeah, interesting stuff overall. So let's wrap this one up. Now here's the thing. The problem this deck could potentially have is just trying to decide when you're equipping a thing and when you're reconfiguring a thing. That's kind of like the big roadblock here. But otherwise, it does have the potential to do some big things. Being able to have these creatures have haste now with double strike becomes a much bigger concern. And we have multiple ways to give double strike, which is really nice, because previously when we played these decks, they kind of overperformed when you had the core Blade Master, but when you didn't, they felt like they underperformed a little bit. But now that you have Blade Master, you've got Lizard Blades, and you have Halvar, all giving you multiple options to double strike, that kind of brings that level up a little bit. Not to mention, if you have the Eater whatever, the sword, like if you were to exile something like the core Blade Master or the Lizard swords, whatever we call those, like then it would be giving double strike to whatever you equipped after that. So that's something else to think about as well. So a lot of cool things. This is almost like building a Voltron of things with equipment, which I kind of like the feel of. But yeah, y'all let me know down in the comments if there's other cards you would play, other things you would want to see in a deck like this. Are there actual clarifications somewhere that I couldn't find on how reconfigure talks to or deals with in terms of equip? Because that's something else I didn't know. So maybe I can tag that and put it in a pinned post. But yeah, otherwise, let me know how you feel about this. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, all that wonderful stuff, because that helps out a whole lot on videos like this that aren't necessarily going to get as many views. So your likes and your shares really mean a lot. Also, don't forget to join the channel if you haven't. That helps a lot when I'm putting in all this extra time. I really appreciate the support. For as little as 99 cents a month, you can support the channel, so please check that out. Otherwise, that's all I have for you for now. We'll see you next time.